We all know SEO tools give you a nice and simple difficulty score when you search a keyword, right? Well, you need to make sure that you never use it. Why? Because it's trash. It's simply not true. Instead, what you have to look at is these 4 things and use this crazy looking formula, which by the way, I'm gonna give them to you, don't worry, to get all that fresh and good SEO data into your SEO file. And then, and only then, you'll be able to know if you can rank for a keyword or not, as well as untap crazy hidden opportunities. So let me show you. So there it is, you can see it, the keyword difficulty, whether it's Ahrefs or SEMrush, they're gonna try to give you this score to help you understand if you can actually rank for it, like this one, 4 out of 100, it seems pretty easy, right? Or not. I won't get into how they actually calculate it, but just know that it doesn't work. 6 years SEO experience, I never look at it, it never works. What I do instead is actually scroll all the way down to look at the SERPs, the search engine results, and actually see the competitors that are ranking as well as the data. And these are the key 4 things plus 1 that we need to look at that we're actually gonna get to transfer them into our file. These are the DR, which is a score that the SEO tools also give, which is more accurate, 0 to 100 of how powerful the SEO of the website is. Then the domains, how many unique websites link to this URL basically, and then how much traffic this URL is getting, and then how many keywords do they rank for. The extra thing is looking at the top keyword and the titles and URLs, basically trying to understand if these competitors actually directly target the keyword and the intent that they have. It's actually a little bit complicated to decide if you can rank or not based on all of this, because there's so many variables and different situations. This is why I have around 120 steps. For example, this is the SOP that I use in my agency to remind myself and to teach people on how to actually decide if we can rank or not. But exactly that is what we're gonna be able to transfer to our sheets to be able to decide what to do before we even go into Ahrefs. Before we do that in the next chapter though, let me just quickly explain what this file is, because you should have it as well. As you know, when you start with a client, you need to find keywords that are relevant to that client. So normally, I find thousands and thousands. I think this client has 66,000 keywords. I've even had sort of 400,000 keywords. Regardless, these are individual keywords with their data, normally search volume, for example. But a lot of people just stay here in this step and they try to create pages with this. But that's actually a huge mistake. And the reason why I'm explaining this is because this is actually more important in terms of what to do in your SEO strategy. But if you can even rank, then what we're gonna do next of looking at the SERPs and identifying if we should create a page or not. So what is it that you have to do? Cluster all these keywords together by comparing them to each other. So I'm sure right now you're like, what? Don't worry, it's super easy to understand. If you look at this file, it's slightly different than the other one. We do have keywords here, but they're not actually keywords anymore. They are possible pages that we can create. We call them clusters. So for example, this keyword right here is the most popular keyword within the cluster group of keywords that we have defined. That is all in here. Can you see that all these keywords in here are sort of similar to each other? Well, the way they've been put together is actually very simple. I've used this tool right here, that the link is in the description, that actually searches all the keywords in your strategy in Google and compares them to each other. So for example, if we pick 2 keywords from here, you can see that when you search them in Google, they actually share results. In fact, look at the first result, it's the same page and is ranking #1 for both. So if you reverse it, it means that for us, we can actually create a page and rank for both. Therefore, that's why they are together in here. So this is the page and all these keywords share results. So we should target them with this page we're gonna create. And if they don't share results, they are just completely different rows. Basically, you can see how to know if you have white feet and my feet hurt when I walk. It's actually 2 different topics, so they're separated. So up to this point, despite having everything super clear and structured, I always have to go to Ahrefs, search a keyword and scroll down to now understand, can I rank or not, and look at all this data. But what if I was able to make that decision already in my file because I had all that data in it? Well, let's start to get that data. It's as simple as grabbing all the top target keywords for each group that are in your website architecture, and you can get up to 10,000. It's really a lot actually. And you just have to put them in Ahrefs in Keyword Explorer. So for example, here I've chosen 20 and all the 20 keywords exist because I actually got the keywords from Ahrefs, so it's the same tool essentially. But again, you can put up to 10,000. So you can do it in bulks basically and get it done quickly. And all you have to do, no thinking, just go and export. And here's the crucial thing that a lot of people don't know. And it's actually not a new thing. It's always been there. Include top 10 positions from SERPs in each word. Thank you, Ahrefs. That's what we needed. And make sure you put all 20. And do keep in mind that this is definitely going to use more export rows in your plan. So make sure you check your SEO Ahrefs plan and you don't get surprised, like bad surprises that you export a bit of the rows and then suddenly the whole plan is finished, basically, hopefully not. And then you just press export. You're gonna get this sort of scary looking file, but don't worry because we are gonna use formulas to get all this. We don't have to go here, filter, anything at all. Just get it. And what's important is, let's say if you have 20,000 to check, you do the first slot the same way I showed you, so it'll be 10,000. And to add the second 1,000, you just have to export it and then append the file. So import, upload, browse, and then press append. So all that data, it's added at the bottom of this initial file. And just like in Ahrefs, you're getting exactly the same. The URL, difficulty, DR, traffic, keywords, that's the juicy stuff we need. Now is where the crazy looking formulas come. You see how they look? It's tough. It took me a lot of time to set it up, but don't worry because if you go to the description of the video, you'll actually get a file, this one right here, with the formulas already set up. And I'm going to tell you exactly what you have to change to make it work for you. But first, let me tell you what we're getting so you really understand it. What we're first going to get is stuff related to the DR, the SEO strength of the website. So what we want to know is, out of all the DRs that appear right here, what is the minimum one? What is the one with the less amount of DR? You can see here is 0, so the formula added 0. And then it's just simple as getting the max. We want to know the minimum and the maximum DR. Again, you can see it's 95, so it gets that for you. And then the average, as well as actually seeing the DRs themselves. And then it's just all the time the same, but instead of the DR, the minimum, traffic, maximum, average, all the traffic. So from this traffic column, the same with the keywords. There it is, minimum, maximum, average, all the keywords, boom. And then the same with domains, minimum, average, max, and then all the domains. As well as this sort of funny, quick thing, which is, does it contain an AI overview or not? Why do we get that? It's kind of nice actually. Before you create a page, you can know if there's an AI overview for it. And again, we're getting the data from Ahrefs right here because it lets us know if there is an AI overview or not, basically. So to get it is very simple. The formulas are already set up. I'm not really going to explain what they do because it's just boring basically. But all you have to do is this file that you see here, which is the same for all of them. Okay, so if I was to click in this one right here, the file is the same, okay? You have to change it, so it's like a one-time thing, it might take you 5 minutes. Delete it and change it for the URL of the file, that initial file you got when you exported from Ahrefs, okay? So remember when I did this and I press export, because I chose Google Sheets, in 3, 2, 1, let's see, it should create a file. There it is, opening Google Sheets, and this is the master magical URL. Don't lose it. No, make sure no one steals it, because this URL is going to make everything work. So all you have to do is in this first row, it should be already there, and then you will add all your clusters below. As you can see, it's in the first row. So once you add all the rows, you just can scroll down and it will actually find it for you. It will take a few seconds and then it should look something like this. Okay, you can see all the data is there. If it doesn't grab it, it might be an issue, or it might be that this URL, for whatever reason, is not in that initial href file. And you're good to go. One important thing is, because we didn't get into how this works because it's boring, there's one important thing you have to do so it works. Make sure that the file that you set up has the same format actually, but if it doesn't have the same format, that at least this one is in row D, okay? This one must be in row D for all of this to work, okay? Sorry, column, not row, what the hell? And then everything else will be fine because the export that you export from Ahrefs will be the same for all of us, and the formula has things set up there to make sure we actually check the keyword, compare it against what's in row D, and then actually grab whatever we want to grab in the format that we wanted, like the minimum or the maximum. I ended up explaining the formula. I said I wasn't going to do it because it's boring. Okay, but now you get it. And finally, here's the game changer. Here's the moment that if you didn't realize yet, you're going to realize now and be like, oh my God. Because you might be thinking, okay, There's some data that is already in Ahrefs. So what we did is transfer it here. So I guess you don't have to go to Ahrefs to check it. I guess it saves some time, but no, this is the game changer. Normally, for example, this file, I have it set up as default as volume. The ones with the most volume, remember, not the keywords, but the actual groups with the most volume come first. And from here is where I try to sort of look or filter by words to see what the opportunities are. But what I can do now is go to this lovely column and identify where it is here, minimum DR. And I can identify, sort by lowest minimum DR. So I can identify the situations where indeed, if we were to check Ahrefs, there's a 0 DR URL, which is literally no SEO power at all, that somehow they've managed to get in the rankings. So if they can do it with 0 DR, we can definitely do it. You get my point. So now instead of starting to check just randomly by the most popular ones, I can sort and then check these opportunities that just came out and I never knew about them, and there's no way I would have been able to filter because I would have had to check one by one in Ahrefs. So I save hundreds of hours. So all of these you see here, if I was to search them, they have minimum one website that has 0 DR. And then I can start to play with other filters like, okay, let's look at 0, but then let's look at the average. Because the lower the average, maybe, you know, for this one, there's like a random 0 there, but all the other ones are super high. But for this one, in fact, I can actually see here, there's a 0, 1 there, a 1 there, and another 0. So this keyword, for whatever reason, which is sock shoes for toddlers, so that's definitely a transactional, not a blog, has 3 websites that have 0 SEO power ranking there. And of course you can play around with all the other filters like traffic and so on. So you might want to go 0, then we go here and we filter by the average should be, let's say, less than 50. Let's put minimum DR 0, so we see only those. And whether it's traffic or amount of keywords doesn't matter. Let's say, for example, traffic, we want to put sort by the most traffic. So we see the ones that all those competitors here get a lot of traffic. So let's say this page right here, Barefoot Store, it will be a transactional, or this transactional, or for example, this blog right here would be one of the best opportunities out of 66,000. Remember, 66,000 keywords, we would have had to sort of scroll and check everything, but now, boom, we saw the opportunities. And the reason why there's only a few here is because I actually didn't add all the data for this client yet. Once I add it, it will look much bigger than this. It might sound a bit complicated, but the fact that I gave you the formula, and if you follow this video and the context behind it, and you have an Ahrefs account, you'll be able to execute exactly this, and hopefully it's helpful. Now it's your turn. Let's go.